What are we going to be doing today?
Dig this out
Uh-huh.
and lay those cross ties down in. Only about 6 inches comes out just to create a level spot for the ties.
Okay. I think we might have good enough tools here for all those jobs.
I think so.
We'll have to see how it
Looks like
works. Okay, how about if I move these ties to start, get them out of the way?
Those on that side are out of the way. The first one sits right here on an angle,
Okay.
then everything else is straight.
Okay, so they should be far enough.
They should be. And then,
Yep.
this one over here comes 2 out to this mark and then straight.
So it should be roughly 8 foot wide?
Yes.
Okay.
Or whatever the machine creates.
Yeah, we'll have to go double width to get 8 foot or whatever, so.
Now, does Vinny do well on this stuff, or you use
We're
a
gonna
box?
try it.
Okay.
We're gonna try it, we don't know.
All right.
I mean, we've done a little bit in some rock, but we're gonna try that. We're also gonna try the teeth on this new grapple we got.
Oh, so
Let's
we
see
got
what they do. We've also got a box blade.
experiment going on.
Yeah, you know, we might not always have exactly the best tool for the job, but
We can make
neither
it
does a
work.
homeowner, right?
All right.
So, you know, we got several different things to try.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you that it's best not to have the dual wheels on when you're grinding stumps because you can't turn it short, and it's nice to be able to turn it a long ways back and forth.
So why do you have the dual wheels on?
L-A-Z-Y.
Oh, okay. At least you're honest.
Folks, I just want to say up front that this episode was one that was hard for me to decide to publish. The primary reason for that is that when we started the project, I didn't understand the end goal. Had I understood the final desired result, I would have tackled the project entirely differently. As it is, you'll see I was quite rough on the equipment doing a project that really didn't need to be done. I was under the impression that I needed to dig all of this out, that we were going to pour concrete the full 8 foot wide, and then put the railroad ties on each side of it. So we're going to try several different approaches to break through this hard concrete-like surface. First up is our new prototype grapple. As I mentioned in a prior episode, this grapple is a prototype, not yet available for sale. Right. And yeah, we'll discuss the shaking loader stand a little bit later. Okay, we're learning that the box blade will cut through that heavy crust, although it's pretty rough on it. The grapple was ineffective. Let's try the Toothbar. Maybe it'll be more efficient. Well, the Toothbar will definitely do the job, and I don't believe there would be any way to do it with the bucket alone, so the Toothbar is a great option. But overall, I believe the box blade is the most efficient way to get it broken loose. The problem is, I just feel like I'm destroying the thing. There's just too much play in there. While I'm being pretty rough on it, I still am trying to follow one of the main rules, and that is not to ram into something and hit something in motion. That's when you really tear something up. Okay, so you see the parking stand just dangling over there on the right side of the tractor. I've sheared another bolt in that parking stand. It's a very small bolt. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't try to park the loader. I plan to show this in detail on a future episode showing how it's constructed as well as how to repair it. Meanwhile, it's not hurting anything for this project.
That's probably deep enough. By the time you bring your box and level it, it's probably pretty good. But it'll stick up above, very about half of that. So half of it will stick up past that concrete.
Half of this will stick up, you're going to have it higher than the concrete.
Yeah.
But I got to be deep enough for the concrete, right? I don't know if I'm 4 inches below that or not.
Probably wouldn't.
I'll try to drag it. I don't know if I can or not. I don't have much room.
Chuck, is this going to be poured concrete or just the slag?
Slag.
Okay.
Let me know if I'm on the sidewalk. As you saw, I was still under the impression we were pouring concrete next to that other concrete, and Christy was just beginning to figure out the end goal. I had understood the railroad ties on each side, but I didn't understand that they just wanted to use that pile of slag for a pseudo sidewalk. So here I am tearing out 2 inches of either concrete or something very, very hard that would have worked beautifully for a sidewalk so that it can be replaced with this slag. Of course, the slag might work fine, but wow, that 2-inch concrete-like base that I'm removing would have been perfect.
He's really creating a lot of dust.
But since I still don't get it, we're trying tool number 4 on this 2-inch concrete hard surface.
Brian showed up. They put him to work.
If I had understood the final design, we would have handled it entirely differently. I would have brought either Johnny or Johnny 2 with the 8 or maybe 12-inch backhoe bucket, and we would have dug a strip just wide enough for those railroad ties to fit in. The backhoe would have easily handled that 2-inch concrete, especially if I was using Johnny 2, and the actual walkway would have been left with that concrete surface. It could have been a win for everybody. Instead, I've needlessly damaged my box blade. Perhaps now you can see why I was reluctant to even publish this episode. By the time I began to figure it all out, we were well into this approach. We had dug out probably 2/3 of this hard concrete, and so leaving it in this halfway condition would have probably been the worst approach of all. So we decided to stick it out and go ahead and remove all the concrete, and that should allow it to be consistent anyway.
that's a bit abusive there. Maybe. That's like chunks of concrete.
Nasty, but I thought I'd run the power rake in there while you're getting this out. And
Yeah.
I think there's a hump over there that I can't get yet. Oh, look, I totally broke one.
Oh, wow.
Christy, come check it out. Oh, we're tearing it to pieces.
You did break one.
And bent it back.
That's not good, Tim. You're hard on your equipment.
Yeah, this is an abusive use of this piece of equipment. Well, the box blade itself is pretty good shape. The scarifiers, they're not handling it so well.
Which are replaceable.
Yeah, these are all replaceable. I think they're gonna have to be replaced too.
Yeah, looks like it. So it definitely looks like concrete.
Here's an example of how not to do it. Don't get a run at it like that. That's pretty rough on the loader and the tractor. Brian needs to set the throttle up a little bit higher and not depend so much on the auto throttle. I believe that's what's going on here. I've seen that with a couple of new operators on Johnny too. We may need to talk about that in another episode. Well, we've been working on this project for a while and, well, it's been tough. There's probably 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of what looks like concrete. I don't think it really is concrete. I think it's a road pack or what we would call 53s that have kind of frozen up like concrete. It's kind of nifty actually how it can do that. But it's made for a very tough surface for us to break through. We've been really bad on the box blade today. I'm surprised it's held together at all, but it's done a really good job. The power rake was surprising both ways, quite frankly. It was surprising how good it could deal in these heavy rocks. It was also surprising the stuff that it couldn't break through to me. Sometimes I was surprised just how powerful it was, and sometimes I was surprised that it couldn't go ahead and break through that 2-inch surface that I'm telling about. For me, a lot of times it's just getting to know this equipment, knowing what it's capable of. That's really a big challenge. But once again, Tom Sawyer here is at work. As I mentioned, we're still testing this grapple. This particular usage is not stressful on the grapple at all, but since I've not used this type of root grapple before, it's a little bit of practice required on my part. This grapple is made by a long-time grapple maker, but this is their first entry, or first proposed entry, into the mini grapple or subcompact grapple market. Notice that it has 2 independent clamps. I strongly prefer 2 clamps as it really helps me to get a better grasp on the item that I'm trying to carry. Well, Christy, we've dug all this out. My goodness, that was
a lot harder job than we expected.
Yeah, and here's a piece of that. It's got to be concrete, guys. I just don't see any way that something besides concrete could be that tough. I don't think that rocks, any sort of a road pack or anything would have got in there. It's got to be concrete. 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches thick. This was a pain. And what you saw with the box blade, Christy, we were pretty rough on the box blade.
Yeah, it needs a little help now.
I would say that the Tufline Boxblade is
Tough.
Yeah. Got no complaints about the box blade. We broke 1 or 2 scarifiers. We did bend a little bit of the box blade around the scarifier teeth, but well.
This is not what it was intended to do.
No. This was abusive.
We know we should have had a skid steer or something stronger.
We just know it wasn't the right tool for the job.
Right. But this is what we had.
And this is what a homeowner's going to do.
Exactly.
Use what they've got to solve the problem they've got.
Right.
That's why we do this channel, guys.
Let's go home now. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too. We set the railroad ties really nicely over here just to prove that we could with that graph western place.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm impressed with that.
And then we got tired and just dumped a bunch of it.
So, what, this video may be 15 minutes, but we've been here 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you didn't have to watch 5 hours of this?
I wish I didn't have to.
Thanks for watching that 15 or 20 minutes, guys. And we'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. And Christy's editing.
Yeah.
All 5 hours.
Yeah.
We could have had multiple cameras, Christy.
Could have.
Like 4 or 5 cameras that you had to sort through?
Oh my goodness. No.
Now this is what happens when you don't attach the device properly. ID 10T Air.